It's another beautiful day to be alive here at Hebert Family Health and Fitness. So today's the week 12 recap. Last week I was 245.5 pounds. This week I'm only 244.9, so I lost 0.6. The other 0.4, probably because I had a little bit of alcohol this week. Missed one workout, but it was the abs workout. So more than likely, I am suffering from a little bit of extra water and the calories from the alcohol. I didn't go nuts though. So more than likely water. But regardless, I have 3 pounds to lose in 2 weeks to stick to the plan. So I'm going to have to push my training a little bit harder. And double check some of the measurements on my meals. I think I improperly measured some of the carbohydrates just because I measured it again today and it didn't look the same. Anyway, so waist measurement, I got it for you guys this week, 39.75. That is a quarter inch smaller than 2 weeks ago. So that is moving right along, right where I expect it to be. Freaking tired is how I would describe it last week. I am feeling the strain, and it has nothing to do with the weight loss or the training, right? It's just everything else. I do a lot of work and desperately trying to do better. So it's taking a lot more time. And fun note, took my daughter to a pottery class yesterday. That was a couple of hours, but we had a blast. So I do have a life beyond working. Barely. Training updates. I took the past couple weeks to kind of not like a deload, but more of a reset. So kind of just, do what feels good on that day for weight. But I tried to keep all the volume in line. But so instead of doing, 315 for sets of 8 on squat, it was more do enough to where you're only 2 reps from failure. So one of the days it was 275 because it's just exhausted. Anyway, so you can focus on recovery while training and without having to do a full deload. You can use RPE, rate of perceived exertion. Highly emotionally dependent though. So if you go to the gym in a bad mood and you're using RPE, everything's going to feel heavy. Everything's going to feel awful. So naturally, all your weights are going to be way lower. So reps in reserve is same side of or same kind of deal, just a different perspective. But the way it works is rate of perceived exertion, RPE. It's on a 1 to 10 scale. And it's just based off of, all right, how many more reps could I have done with that weight? So RPE 8 is probably the most common prescribed value. And it's like, all right, you got 2 left. It would be the worst 2 reps of your life, but you could get 2 more reps. The problem with this is exactly what I'm describing here. If you're in a bad mood, you're not going to push as hard. You're going to believe that you can only do a couple more when in reality, you probably have a lot more. You just don't want to push yourself hard enough to do those other reps. So it has its uses, though. It's just like exactly what I'm saying. If you're feeling beat down, you can go by feel, and you're naturally going to do a little bit less. So it's just an easier time. But if you have any kind of performance goal, I wouldn't. There are very, very few scenarios in which I would use RPE for a performance goal. But I don't have a performance goal yet. I do have a competition coming up in July, but it's kind of more of a, wouldn't call it a baseline, but it's just a ramp up. Just doing it to stay in kind of a competition mindset, and I'm supporting a friend of mine. Trying to say local business, but she's not a business. Yeah. But a friend of mine is putting it on. I want to support her and the competition, so I'm signing up for it. I'm going to get my ass kicked for sure. All the events are just bad for me. But perfect excuse to work on all the things I suck at. So can't go wrong, right? And I don't know if you can qualify for this year's nationals from this competition. I think it's for next year's nationals, but I don't know for sure. But I can't go to this year's anyway, so it really don't matter if I win. It's all bragging rights at that point. But none of it will matter if I don't hit my weight goal, and that's why that's my primary focus right now. I need to get down. So below 241. I need to get below 241 within 2 weeks of the competition, which plenty of time. It's what kind of shape am I going to be in when I get there? If I push this off too late and I have to go absolutely crazy to get there, I'm not going to be in competition shape. I'm going to be exhausted. I'm not going to be any stronger. It's a bad deal. If I get down to 241 in the 2 weeks, now I've got a little bit of time to kind of get back to maintenance, and then I can just do a quick water cut. I'm 240 pounds. A water cut down to 231, it's not even hard. As long as you follow the routine, you do salt and water load ahead of time, then you cut the salt, and then the day before you cut the water, and then you do any extra sweating that you have to do. And it just falls off. It's not fun by any stretch of the imagination. I say it's not hard because you follow the guidelines. All right, I need to have this many grams of sodium. I need this many pints of water. And then you cut the salt for a day. You cut the water the day before. And then you usually don't even have to sweat if you do it right. I have not done it right, but I got really, really close. I was about 2 pounds off last year when I went for a competition. And that was half an hour in a really hot shower, 2 hours on the treadmill. And I wound up being a couple pounds under. So I don't know if my scale was just off or what, but when I stepped on it, I was 220, 229 maybe and change. So overdid it, but it's not something you should do on a regular basis. But if you're competing, sometimes it's worth it. If you're competing at a high level, it's probably something you're doing on a regular basis, but there's a right and a wrong way to do it. If you have to do it more than once. But what I've seen is, because I have not had to do this, if you're competing back to back, so within 2 to 4 weeks, you'll carb and water load before your competition, do the competition, and then after the competition, you get right back down to your calorie deficit, and because you're not really losing fat, you're just preventing weight gain. You get down to your calorie deficit, you get all that bloat out for a few days, and then you find where maintenance is, keep there, and you'll have to do a small water cut again, because your actual body weight is higher than your competition weight. So for anyone not competing, I just wasted a few minutes of your time. Apologies. But that's what I'm looking at. So if you're not competing, you don't have to worry about water cutting. You really should not water cut for anything other than a competition. Or I know models, like if you have a modeling gig and you need to look shredded, they will do that as well. But that's how you get the super cut, veiny look for a bodybuilding stage or a modeling gig. People don't just walk around like that without performance enhancing substances. There's a major difference when you look at those on substances versus those not on substances and not dehydrated down. They just go look at what's his name? C-Bomb. I don't know his real name. Chris Bumstead, maybe. Look at his off-season pictures, because he posts them. He's not afraid to show what his body really looks like off stage. Greatly respect him for that. He's not stage ready all the time. That's not sustainable. So if that's what you're trying to achieve, you need to take a hard look at what's possible, unless you're going the substances route. Those have their side effects. There's a right and a wrong way to do that. If you're going to do it the right way. I have no moral qualms about it, unless you're cheating for a competition, then you suck. Anyway. But for those of you just on the weight loss journey, it's still that simple. And this, if I'm going to have a graph I can show when I do because I won't do a live finisher. I'm going to want to share my screen and demonstrate a few things. So you guys will get just a recording, but I'll try to put it at the same time. My weight loss graph, it's generally going down, but if you zoom in on it, there's a bunch of spikes and squiggles and some little plateau sections, and then drops off for no reason. You're never going to have a perfectly straight line unless you zoom way the hell out. Even then. So if you're looking at your weight on a day-to-day basis and judging your progress based off of that, you're creating unnecessary stress. That's not how it works. You don't drop the weight and then you stay there forever. Your body fluctuates with how much water retention and how much bloat and all that good stuff, even like throughout the day. I gain 2 to 3 pounds throughout the day. I mean, I eat a lot of food, but I drink a lot of water. So in the morning, maybe I'm 245. In the evening, I'm 248. Easy. So keep that in mind. Your body's going to fluctuate on a day-to-day basis. That's why I've been doing the average weight. So I'll weigh myself 2 to 3 times a week. Really just depends on when I remember. And then if I do get just a wild measurement, like 3 to 4 pounds off, because it's happened. 3 to 4 pounds just out of left field, whether it's high or low, I throw that one out. That one's no good. It's not going to help with my measurement because I've got 3 measurements. Because if I get one of those, I make sure to do another one the following day. I got 3 measurements. So you take the average. If one of them's 4 pounds off, that throws the average way, way out the window. But now I don't have good feedback because I had one bad day. I went out, had takeout, and there's more salt than I expected. There's always more salt than you expect at takeout, right? I get the crispy shredded. That's what when it happened. I got the crispy shredded beef from a hibachi place that we go to. Probably ate more of it than I should have. But the next day I was like 4 pounds over or something, 3 and change. Like, yeah, we're gonna try that again. Following day, I'm right back down where I should be. So crazy measurements, take with a grain of salt, pun intended. But get an average. It really does make a difference with tracking, because if I had responded to that 4 pound increase with a massive calorie cut, I would have just wrecked myself, right? So don't let any single measurement throw you off, good or bad, because you might say, oh, I lost 2 pounds. I didn't even do anything different. Great. I can celebrate with a cupcake because I can make up the calories, but don't do that. Yeah, it's not going to work. Yeah. All right. I think I've rambled on long enough today. I had one, wasn't a question. It was more of a complaint, but not about me. Someone was complaining that their results, they've been training for years, results just aren't where they want to be. We talked about what they're doing for training. It's just not enough for what they're looking for. And now he's starting TRT. He's starting TRT, and he's hoping that makes up the difference. It'll help a little, because you can take TRT without any training and you will gain muscle mass. But he wants to maximize it. He wants to be, just inhuman. And he's been training for years, and he trains 5 or 6 days a week. And I'm like, all right, you're doing some of the things right. But when he gets in the gym, I don't think he's changed his volume from 3x10 per exercise in like a year. So yes, there are other ways to do it. You don't have to change the volume all the time, but you have to do it eventually. And 101 ways to do it. Everyone's got their own take on what's best. High volume, low volume, high intensity, low intensity. You have to go through different seasons of stimulus to really maximize, keyword, your results. If you just do 3x10, add weight when you can, you're gonna hit a plateau, and you'll wind up doing the exact same workouts for weeks, and you may or may not break out of it. Eventually, you'll probably have to take a break because stress accumulates. After you come back from the break, that's usually when you break the plateau. But it's way easier if you change the stimulus. Like, all right, 3x10 is not working anymore. Well, you're going to add volume and keep the same weight, or even drop the weight back a little, and then push it again. Or you can do a periodized structure. There's 101 ways to do it, is my point. I don't need to get in the weeds about it. If you do have questions on how to improve your training, I do a free 30-minute session, and you will come away with next actions to go and adjust your training so that you can get back on track with your results. So if you are interested in that, drop a comment and we'll get you set up for a free 30-minute evaluation. But why did I start that? Results. Yeah. So the other half of that, beyond the numbers, is how much of yourself you give to these sessions. If you're only putting in, as much effort as is convenient, you're not going to have great results. You will have results, but not great results. And I posted about this probably a couple times this week. Showing up and getting it done, that's the expectation. That's the bare minimum. If you really want to do something or achieve something incredible, you have to put out an incredible amount of effort. You have to push yourself further than you want to push. You have to dedicate yourself to your meal plan more often than you would prefer. It's pushing beyond your comfort. That's where you get the real results. Now, if you're happy with just okay results, keep doing what you're doing. You're going to be fine. There's nothing wrong with having a certain result in mind and just doing enough to get that result. I am not that way. I'm a little bit off, so I need to push harder than most other people would. That's just what makes me happy. Because I get to tell myself no one else is working as hard as this, and that motivates me to push even harder. And then I get good results, and it's a win-win. So, yeah, long-winded yet again seems to be my thing. Send me your questions. Let me know if you want me to review your training. I'll let you guys know next week what the updates to my training are, because I've exhausted my not deload. I'm not going to get anything more out of it from this point, so time to get back to it and really crush it. The stress management. We're going to have to get into stress management next time, but stress management is a skill. You need to work on it every day, and I'm going to share some of my tips, tricks, and I'm going to go over what doesn't work, because everyone gets a kick out of that too. So that's it for this week, you guys. 3 pounds, 2 weeks. We're going to get this done. Be well and be strong.